Agora a gente vai convidar a Violeta Bulc para falar sobre ecocivilização. Violeta é presidente do #G100 e líder do movimento #Ecocivilização, além de ex-primeira-ministra da Eslovênia. Seja bem-vinda. Welcome. Nossos amigos do som, a Violeta está com um probleminha, assim, com um pouquinho a voz. Aí vocês conseguem dar um ganho nesse microfone para dar uma ajuda nela, ela não forçar tanto? Obrigada. E a Violeta vai falar em inglês. Caso alguém precise de tradução simultânea, dá um pulinho corridinho ali fora, pega o equipamento para poder acompanhar com mais conforto, tá bom? They will help you with the microphone.
Obrigada. Hello, everyone. It's a little bit, I lost my voice, but I hope I haven't lost my sharpness. I will try to do my best. And first, I would like to deeply thank you to the organizers to give me an opportunity to be here. And of course, to my dear friends from Portugal who brought me as part of their team. It's been an exciting week. And we've said many things. And kind of try to understand better now what is the soft power altogether. So now I'm going to offer you something else. We got an excellent presentation as a starting point for today. And my proposition to you today will be that emergence of new can be a soft power that will change this world. And I'm talking about some things that are building up under the radar, nobody sees them, and then all of a sudden they spill over as the major global trend. And I hope today I will encourage you that it's worth working on it, because I do feel somewhere deeply in my heart that what I'm going to share with you now might become one of those hidden soft powers. Today we visited a very beautiful museum here in Rio, which is the Museum of the Future. And there was a very powerful part that talks and showed the history of the development of planet Earth. And they also talked about the Holocene era, which lasted about 10,000 years. And they beautifully showed how we entered now in the era of Anthropocene, which is primarily defined by human activities. But what was really important is that in Holocene era, which it was had a very specific characteristics that allowed the life to perpetuate and really dramatically develop on this planet Earth. And there were very particular reasons why that was possible. One of them, that the sea levels stayed stable. Availability of fresh water stayed stable. And weather conditions were very predictable. So that allowed this biodiversity to take place. That allowed. But in the Anthropocene era, human activities started to interfere with all that, with all major subsystems that exist on planet Earth. And consequences are very unpredictable, because we don't have yet a full AI-supported system that could observe and know exactly how the interdependencies of natural ecosystem of planet Earth are happening. So yes, we do have to pay a lot of attention what's happening with climate, which in one hand is a natural behavior climate change of planet Earth. On the other hand, we have, with our activities, speed up these cycles to the point that we are seriously asking ourselves if we can even respond and develop resilience towards those changes that we help to create. So climate is one, the other one is biomass and biodiversity, oceans, fresh waters, nutrition, and of course population growth. Why am I saying that? Because I do believe personally that we are at the verge of a new paradigm that we will all live through. And today, it's very often we refer to this paradigm through so-called VUCA principles. We say that life is becoming very volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And in that, we also are seeing rupta behavior developing everywhere in all kinds of layers and businesses and social frameworks. And that means these rapid changes, unpredictable changes, paradoxical many times, because there is many times no logic, and of course, tangled. So how we as human species will find our space, and how are we going to adjust, and are we going to survive these huge changes that are coming? So what I'd like to bring to your attention is really the concept of civilizational overview. Because in the last 100,000 years, and in the museum you can also see that, there have been a lot of civilizations on this planet Earth, enormous amount. And the typical characteristic for them was that they were very regional. And guess what? None of them exists today anymore. And they were powerful. They were very, they had many people and citizens and wealth behind, but they don't exist anymore. And my big question to you is, are we the next civilization, Western especially civilization that is based on the industrial mindset? Are we the next to go down, fall? Or do we have a capacity inside ourselves to reinvent ourselves? Do we have enough overviews and tools in hand that instead of just going down the drain, we will reinvent the way how we do things and be able to sustain? What do you think? Maybe a question to be discussed in a break. It's worth saying at this point that civilizations in general bring themselves down. You know, every civilization actually made a lot of strange decisions, or it became too unadaptable, not resilient enough, neglecting the signals because they were way too comfortable, or all of a sudden they became self-centric so much that they overlooked what is happening around them. They were always helped then a little bit, but the history shows us that pretty much every civilization brought itself down. So are we smarter? Can we do better? I dare to think that they were not as much aware of that as we are today. And my colleague already mentioned the data is the element that is a new value that we brought forward, and it's shared on global scale. And maybe that data will help us to understand faster, to really respond and basically define the priorities that are necessary in order to be more sustainable. So what is eco-civilization? Today, if you look around and if you take really the big view, what is offered to you on a global scale, you will see that either there's a lot of pessimists who will say, oh, we don't have humans, we don't have future. Then you have an extremely strong trend that is very much supported by the high-tech companies and with the global mindset, is transhumanism, saying that maybe we should reinvent the next generations of beings which will replace humans on the long run and make them more efficient with the help of technology. I have a bit of a challenge with that, but we can talk about it as well. But probably just because I'm a computer engineer by profession, was trained in Silicon Valley, also came back, and then got very much more into the system design and system thinking and innovation ecosystems. And then politics, which shaped me in addition to that, especially my European Commissioner's position, because I was able to see the big picture. And I tend to believe that humans inside ourselves, we have the necessary resilience power that we can keep technology as a tool, not as a goal. Are you with me on that one? It's a very important and very deep distinction. Do you put technology as a goal, or do you keep technology as a tool? And I hope that that is the one that will prevail. And that's probably based on all this internal fights and everything that was going on in my internal world. The eco-civilization concept started to emerge about 4 years ago. And what is eco-civilization today? If I can give you just a short term, eco-civilization is really mission-driven, disruptive cluster of individuals, of companies, of organizations, all those people who are looking for a place where they can test their image of the future, where freely and in a safe environment. And they know that they will, in that environment, meet people that have similar ambitions, and they come with an open heart and open mind to try to see, imagine first, because there is always the thought first that starts a change. And imagine, think, and then walk shoulder to shoulder to deliver what we believe is the next step for humanity. You would think, oh, this is too big. This is too big for me. I cannot even think that big. I get that answer many times. But it's actually very small. It's just, do I want to survive, and how do you, or do I want to live, and how do I want to live? I'm inviting you that you're not afraid of questions like that, but that you really deeply inside you try to make a choice, because then the whole life will steer you towards that choice. My choice was, I love nature. I grew up as a kid in the nature, and I spent as much time as I can in nature. So my vision of the world is that, yes, humans, we are nature, and we have a chance to intertwine with nature better and also improve the quality of our own lives. So before I share with you what have we learned in the last 4 years, I would like to offer you yet additional view that started to emerge maybe in the last 400 years, even more intensively. But it's been around, of course, since the existence of human being, at least the part of it. We live among 3 different natures. And I don't see too often all these 3 natures being acknowledged. And human being wears a hat in all 3 of them. We are interacting, and we are active, and we are under the influence of all 3. If nature 1 is the basic earth ecosystems framework, then nature 2 are all the communities that humans created, being villages, being cities. And you probably are with me on that the rules of behavior in the nature 1 are different than in nature 2. And nature 2 we established by ourselves. This is purely human invention and hopefully innovation. Hopefully delivers the value add for humans. But recently, let's say, since the first computer was made, which was in 1958, ENIAC, and until today, we started to create this 3rd nature, which is a cyber nature, which is a virtual space. And it exists. And we coexist with it. So all 3, we humans need to manage well. And with all 3, We need to interact well and bring them together, that they don't jeopardize each other, but we have a responsibility to make sure that they are in harmony. Are they today? What do you think? Are they in harmony, or are they fighting with each other for their attention, for resources? You know, it's so easy to cut down 200 or 300 years old trees just to serve industrial mindset and feed the nature 2 or nature 3 with the profits, and nature 2 with the wood to be used as a construction material. So I don't think we're doing a really good job here. So I'm inviting us all, that maybe we put some thoughts into it, and together we could do this in a much better way. So with that kind of introduction, allow me to take you on a journey now on eco-civilization in the last 4 years, and what have we learned. And I gotta tell you, we have more questions than answers. But maybe when we meet each other in 5 years' time, we're gonna have much more to share, and hopefully your contributions will be part of that. So first, in the first discussions, we realized that many fresh ideas, many new ideas get killed within the rigid structures that were designed for something else. Interesting enough that one of the first dreams that started to emerge was challenging the existing organizational structures of our societies. So the question was, is it even possible to organize a society in any other way? And then I asked myself, what are the fundamental elements around which we actually are active in a most natural way when we don't think if we are part of organization or company or university? What do we care about? Who are the elements of life that we live? And interesting enough, the answer started to evolve pretty clearly. So beings are definitely one of the important elements of life, being humans, animals, plants. The second one, no matter what kind of form of being we are talking about, all beings are organizing themselves around some sort of communities, right? Being trees, being flowers, being mushrooms, being wolves, being birds. Everybody is somehow creating some sort of community. So the community is, I'm offering you as the second major element on this planet Earth around which we organize ourselves. Then, of course, we need space where we can exist, yeah? And all beings and all communities need space within which they organize themselves, being now physical space, or as we see, very often many new communities are using virtual space to organize themselves, but they still need space, right? Okay, and then there is this incredible element that is sort of everywhere, but it's often invisible because we cannot touch it. It is our consciousness. And consciousness being fed with knowledge, wisdom of cross-civilizational time span. And this is something we are neglecting a lot. Every civilization tried to destroy everything that the previous one created to prove how superior they are compared to the past and how stupid we could be. You know, every civilization accumulated an enormous amount of wisdom and knowledge and experiences. And just imagine that we bring all that together from all continents. And that is something that is slowly happening in the Nature 3. But unfortunately, already today, under the influence of political interests. But all of us can help to get a much clearer picture and bring this awareness about the consciousness to all of us. because there is an incredible richness. And that is where we can get a lot of fresh ideas, inspirations, and of course, also tools that we don't repeat things that were done already in the past. So these are the 4 basic elements, but we all know that what makes the world move around are not these 4 elements, but it's something that is here in this room, very much present, that is present at every dialogue, at every project, at every action, which are relationships, right? So we're offering relationships as the 5th element of this basic structure of possible society of the future, where relationships are a dynamic system, subsystems that bring different beings together, societies, different spaces and beings and spaces and societies. And in today's language, these dynamic relationships can be also economical models. They can be educational models, right? But in the function of making conditions and life of beings, societies, land better and improving the overall, broadening the overall consciousness, where then new ideas can be nurtured. So this is the basic thing, and where do we want to drive that? Well, to move you completely out of your comfort zone and out of everything probably that you've think so far. Imagine planet Earth to be an ecozone of our galaxy. Every astronaut that goes to space comes down with tears. He says, if we could move the entire humanity to space to see the planet Earth from the space down, we would love it and treasure it as the biggest treasure possible because it's just so beautiful. So, I get goosebumps when I say that, but it's true. It's true. So can we value that? Could that be our belief that drives us, that it's worth preserving this incredible planet and really work with it, not against it? So this is just to provoke as well. I mean, can you imagine something else away from functional process, metrics, organizations? I would love to talk to you about it. This is just one of visions. Maybe there is a better one, but just to give you an encouragement that it's possible to think out of the known frameworks. I hope that will help you to reinvent your understanding of how to organize to do things better. The next question, which immediately popped out was, how can we evolve better? The whole school system, for the last 400 years since we've started with industrial mindset, building up the industrial mindset, was designed to maximize humans' first physical strength, because that's what industry needed. And later on, we added intellectual level. A little bit here and there in this 21st century, you also hear a little bit about emotional capital that is good to have. But at the end, I'm still not too happy about the way how we treasure that. At the end, physical and intellectual keep revealing, even though we know that in order to find sustainable solutions, you need to be developed on all as a holistic human being. But because we are forcing in schools to primarily develop two, we get people out of the school systems who try to behave the way how they were taught. Even though when you're a little bit sensitive or when you grew up and you all of a sudden say, whoa, is this all? You start discovering the importance of our levels of human being that we have in ourselves as well, which is emotional capital, spiritual capital, social capital, and energy capital that we hold. And in those additional dimensions actually is untapped capital that can help us to find better solutions for the future. my invitation, think about it. Of course, immediately when we have all this on our hands, we say, well, how can we connect better? We see today that social media, as we know it, is very much under the influence of interest. There are logics behind that try to steer your emotions, they try to steer your decision-making processes with an interest, not an interest of public well-being, but the interest of specific corporations or those that pay. So is that really the way how we can holistically develop? If there is something trying to steer us into a particular mindset to serve some sort of industrial goal. So within eco-civilization and actually beyond, we started to connect with this group of network of the networks, where for the last 3 years, we really put a lot of thinking and designing into how can we connect and communicate without this big brother being all the time above us and controlling us. So we started with sort of twice per year. It's a connectathon, we call. We meet together on Equinox, 24 hours for humanity, 24-hour sessions, just learning together as a global society and trying to tap into the needs and into the mindsets of those that care not only for themselves, but for a broader society. So out of that, the elements of a new potential social media started to emerge. Circles were born. And hopefully March next year we will launch now. We are now in prototype mode where you own your data. You decide where the data go, who you open the door, who you treat as a friend, who you treat as acquaintance, who you don't want to see in your backyard. So basically you will be in charge of your entity, identity, entity, and your space. So I'll be happy to get back to you, but just as a thought that we got to think about tools as well, not just structures, not just how we develop, but also the tools that we use in order to manifest what is good in us. And of course, then comes the question how to perpetuate and how to keep as a perpetuum mobile the possibility to constantly reinvent and challenge yourself, because as soon as a decision is made, it's old. As soon as the product is produced, it's old. So how to, without any fear and without any loss of the created value, can we coexist and live in a sort of spiral way? So for 14 years, I was an entrepreneur, and I was helping companies and local communities establishing innovation ecosystems. I'm a pretty good observer. Was many years a sport person, even professional, but all sports I learned by observing. So I brought that to business as well. And I realized all of a sudden that companies have their own behavior patterns. Organizations have their own behavior patterns. And many good business ideas, especially joint ventures and acquisitions, get lost or never deliver the expected values because companies are in a different development cycles. So we are now using this now for society as well. And we are observing working environments are very autocratic, and their priority is productivity. They will try to create value always with new technologies. And they are so confident that other just comes by the by, but focus is always new technology, productivity, productivity. Usually those companies treat people as a working force. Then you have a group that brings knowledge forward, and it's focusing on quality because they already sense that they need to manage specific market niches. So they cannot just take market as an overall. That means that they need to constantly add new knowledge. So those companies call people human resources. So it's a resource. Yeah? But there are some companies, especially small startup companies, that are realizing that if they want to be rabbits in the marketplace, they need something more. They need to be able to constantly innovate and recognize new market niches that can appreciate and pay for what their vision of the world is. So those companies started to call people human capital. So yes, I invest in you, but now you have to give me back what I invested, possibly with the rate of return that I expect. But you see that people here are not treated really as people. So what we see now is that there are more and more conscious companies emerging on a global market. Conscious companies treat people as people, and they call them people. And it's an excellent example of a colleague from Norway who runs such a company, and he has only 2 rules with which he runs the company, which is now global, and it's probably in Brazil as well. One rule is do what it feels right, and they require 100% transparency. 2 of the things that classical business model will say you're crazy if you do it. They don't want transparency, and they want everything mathematically, empirically supported before they approve. Interesting enough, they're very successful. And interesting enough, we are tapping into this as global movement, global disruptive cluster, and it works really well for us as well. But what is the core message here? How to innovate better? Start treating people as people and create spaces where the best people have can come forward. Because each of us is a beautiful 100% talented person. Each of us has 100% talent. And if the space is right, if the incentives are right, if the conditions are right, this will come forward. And I've seen this being manifested so many times that I'm very confident to say that in front of you. And today, the most popular topic, and also here very much present, how to sustain better. Here, out of this awareness and consciousness that we talked about, beautiful models started to emerge. But you know what? It hurts it really hurts me seeing that they compete with each other instead of collaborate. We have this beautiful concept of circular economy, but we today know that that is not enough. We have a beautiful concept of regenerative economy, but today we know that that is not enough by itself. We have this beautiful concept of economy of limited resources, acknowledging that planet Earth has limited resources, but that is not enough. But once you put all 3 together, you have such a powerful density of consciousness, knowledge, wisdom, and very well-proven methods and products with which you can deliver long-term, sustainable lifestyle that has no negative impacts on planet Earth. So my invitation here is very strong. If you want to be sustainable, we need to start collaborating. And competition model will not bring us there. No matter how much they try to convince you, competition model is killing the value creation. So we need to go in next step further, because this planet is so huge. There is space for so many incredible ideas and so many incredible projects. And once you put them together, you have the wholeness. You have a stable, nature-friendly system within which we can start dreaming about balanced lifestyle and quality lifestyle for all. So, I would like to leave you here with the last thought. Something that started to emerge, and what I do, my role in eco-civilization movement that I've started, is that I tap into the emergence and observe and look what is happening. And one of the very core and very strong messages is already had crystallized is that this world needs a certain things to become a universal right that cannot be commercialized and cannot become commodity items. And the first one we tackled was water. I mean, how did we ever come to the idea that water can be owned? How did we ever come to an idea that water need to be bottled instead of that everybody gets clean drinking water in a pipe? So I'm inviting you to join us, to support us. Every month we have meetings, sessions. Most of them are still virtual, and try to see what do we need to do to bring these universal rights for clean water, for clean air, for a quality public space into the constitutions of all countries around the world. These are the most tangible elements that have already emerged out of the movement. These are the open questions. I'm not going to repeat them, but these are just a small list of those that are challenging us and that we will continue to engage around them. But the important thing is that we keep moving. We cannot stop, and that we keep with the inclusion, that we keep bringing as many brilliant minds as possible together, because only as a collective we can get beyond what we have today. No leader will ever get us there. Every leader, no matter how smart it has limited qualities. And look where the big leaders have brought us. So let's work more as a community. Let's more work as a through participatory modeling and engagements. And I'm sure that something beautiful will emerge out of that. Obrigada.
Muito obrigada, Violeta. Pessoal, a gente tem um tempo para 2 ou 3 perguntas. Alguém está interessado em fazer perguntas aproveitando a presença da Violeta e tudo que ela trouxe para nós? Se tiver, é só levantar a mão que a nossa equipe vai levar o microfone até você. Lá.
Boa tarde para todo mundo. Meu nome é Vanessa Violeta. Foi um prazer escutar a sua palestra. É uma inovação muito grande, né? Essa ideia de uma civilização tão consciente, tão real, né? Tão preocupada com nossa realidade mesmo. E a minha maior pergunta seria: como seria, no caso, eu colocando na realidade do Brasil, a dificuldade de conseguir colocar esses conceitos que você colocou de uma forma que a população conseguisse, porque nós somos tão diversos, o brasileiro é diverso, de uma forma que a gente conseguisse entender e até colaborar, né, para chegar a uma consciência dessa que você propôs.
Well, thank you very much. That's a very important question. First of all, if you have diversity, that is a big privilege. Because innovation cannot happen without diversity. So innovation always happens at the edge of 2 different things. So when you, how did we start? Well, I published something on internet, people responded. I started organizing the web sessions during the COVID lockdown. Then all of a sudden we were recognized by a couple of other networks, and we started bringing people from different countries on board. Now we have officially nodes in 43 countries. And our goal is at least 100 countries. Not by the number of people, but the number of cultural diversities, because that's where the richness is. So I'm encouraging you, just start. I mean, if you want to bring a couple of friends together and start thinking, what can we do to keep Earth as an ecozone of the universe? That's a good question. Or how can we organize ourselves? How can we help each other in order to recognize each other's benefits and see what can we do together better? I mean, it's as simple as that. I know that sometimes is overwhelming and you think that you have to make big steps. I made very small steps. I went to friends in the countryside and we started talking, and we recognized that there is a group of people who is really interested in ancient future wisdoms. And we started to run discussions. Now we have them all over the world. About ancient future wisdoms. We record them, and hopefully next year the book will come out. The same we did with circular economy. One of our colleagues from India said, well, I'm really interested in entrepreneurial practice of circular economy, which was also identified, as you could see, as one of possible elements that could drive us forward. And we started organizing sessions. We had a year of sessions. We brought entrepreneurs from all over the world together to share how they are implementing circular economy. And then we published a book. You can get it for free. Everything we do is for free. Now, you know, they are building on that. They create their own circles somewhere else. We don't even control. I have no need to control things, but just to steer sparkles and encourage people to act. So it's really that simple.
Boa tarde, meu nome é Cláudio Pereira. Ok. Ok, boa tarde, meu nome é Cláudio Pereira. Eu gostaria de agradecer pela excelente... Ok. Ok? Ok. Então, meu nome é Cláudio Pereira, gostaria de agradecer pela excelente palestra, né? Achei muito interessante a parte onde você colocou a questão de que a maioria das organizações e pessoas vivem mais para competição e não para colaboração. Muito bom mesmo. E eu gostaria de saber quais suas interações aqui no Brasil, quais parcerias, enfim, o que você age aqui dentro do nosso país.
Well, I was a little bit privileged because I got in touch with such exuberant circles of strength and entrepreneurship and innovation, and especially social power. We were in, I always say it wrong, but there is a Ocilia, and we met many incredible projects in Ocilia who made me cry because, you know, if you can make it in Ocilia, then you can make it anywhere. I would like you to acknowledge what is happening in your communities who are desperate to have a better life, who are desperate to provide themselves and their families with something that is more decent than what they have right now. And this kind of very healthy course are fantastic, but we also saw a couple of institutes that they're doing marvelous things. It is about self-confidence, and it is about the fact that you share information. I think what is a huge opportunity in the future is maybe also with the tools that we really disown the ownership of information. Information, like money should never have any value. Money is the exchange mechanism. But I don't know, how did we allow the money to have value? And all this then malversations and all the frauds and everything is now happening in that space. So it's up to us humans. I mean, we created all that, so it's up to us to change it. Please look around. You will see beautiful people around you. And I think even in that museum was an excellent presentation. One of the psychologists, I think, or no, the doctors who's dealing with brains, and he said it's all about perception. I mean, if we can look at things from this side or from this side, in whatever we see in today's society is very subjective. There is no objectivity anywhere. because we're limited. The fact that our dogs can hear completely different things that we hear, you know, that birds see completely different things that we see. We need to acknowledge that, and we're part of this ecosystem. And once we will acknowledge that, we will realize how much we can learn from each other. And that's why I have such a strong faith also in humanity, because it's time that we remember who we are. And little by little, it's going to be painful. I mean, my life is not just, you know, beautiful, dandy road from here to the eternity. I mean, it's paved with many challenges, but I have this faith. And I really believe that we together can do much better. And if something doesn't happen, means that I've done something wrong. So I better look from a different angle and, you know, try it again. You know, just believe in yourself. Look at the mirror and say, okay, here I am. What do I want to become? What do I need to do to get there? Yesterday we had a great lecture here about how they search for talents in Estonia. But in fact, our friend Leonardo, he gave you a model how you do well with yourself, because you can use the same model for your personal development. And it's just, you know, identify what you need to improve, who you want to be, and then see what you need to add. I mean, I have a couple of things on a bucket list for myself as well, and I'll get there. I know I will. So sorry, I cannot give you like a magic wand, but it's a hard work, but if you walk the path, you're going to get somewhere. You know, if you're stuck in your chair at home with a remote and watching TV, with the remote control and watching TV, then you will be there and complain the whole life. It's your choice.
Essa vai ser a nossa última pergunta, tá bem, pessoal?
I'm going to speak in English, so you can take off your phones if you want.
He's speaking in American. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Good afternoon to everyone, and especially for you, Violeta. And I'm so thankful for your presentation. And there's something I always think about, and it is about the most powerful people on Earth, like Elon Musk and the really rich people. And it looks like they are trying to leave Earth instead of saving Earth, like developing technologies and ways to save our planet, to end hunger, to save water. So it looks like only people who really have power are going to be saved, because only people who have money are going to go to Mars, for example, if you know.
But
so
do you? I mean, let them go to Mars. Maybe we can manage the Earth better without them.
yeah, but there's a point that these people say that we must leave Earth. It's like we are supposed to natural disasters and catastrophes like eruptions and things like that, deadly diseases. So what do you think about this thought of leaving Earth instead of saving Earth?
Well, I mean, 10 days would probably not be enough. I'm in love with the space, really. I mean, I admire space, but I love planet Earth, and I would do everything that we can develop resilience in order to know how to respond to possible disasters. And history is teaching us, and maybe we won't live forever. I mean, we probably won't, even though I plan to live quite long. But there is something else very important to know, that a couple of 100 years before BC, people were traveling to all the planets already, but not with ships, but on the frequency of light. We are just so much, we have to learn so much more. There is so many things we don't understand. And industrial mentality didn't want people who were thinking and who were exploring and who were curious, because they needed obedience in order to deliver what the industrial mindset needed to get in order to deliver profits. So we will conquer other planets. We will probably get there one way or the other. With sondas, we are already almost at the edge of our galaxy, even beyond. But, my dear friends, let's do everything we can to live on this planet Earth. Really. I don't think that this is a very smart business proposition that Musk has done. He was able to accumulate enormous amount of money, and he is walking the path of his dream, which is fair enough, but that doesn't need to be the dream of the entire society. I went through floods, I've seen natural disasters happening, but I've seen humanity coming through and help to recover. So let's build on humanity. We are such incredible creatures, and the beings around us in other forms are also so beautiful that, I don't know, I personally would love to live on planet Earth. I don't want to live in any other planet. But I wouldn't mind traveling on a frequency of light, not with rockets.
Thank you.
Muito obrigada, Violeta. This was our last question. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.